That'd be.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NFT show. Today we are discussing the ApeCoin staking disaster. ApeCoin, of course, the token that was released by Yuga Labs, the creators of Bored Ape Yacht Club and Other Side Land. And we're talking about the potential disaster that comes along with it. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. We are not financial advisors. The NFT space is insanely risky, so always do your own research. And if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button. It really helps us out. Share the video with your friends. Gentlemen, so tell me, what's going on with ApeCoin?
I have no clue. Kicks acted like it's a staking disaster. I got to define. I'm like, really? I mean,
you came up with the title.
He said it. Look. It's
you,
not clickbait.
You made the title.
No, Kick said that this was the story, so I'm willing to roll with it because I got some ideas here also about the disaster that is ApeCoin staking. But Kicks, how about you inform all of the plebs out there?
Okay, yeah. So first of all, the topic for the show was basically, like potential Black Swan events in the NFT space based on what P.O. said on the morning show on Twitter Spaces, which is he asked, like, when
you give it Nick an inch, he takes a mile with titles. He literally takes a mile every time. It's like you can't even. It's like giving a little bit of heroin to or having a heroin addict watch the syringe while you step away for a second. Go ahead.
Let's tell the story. It's a staking disaster.
Go ahead, Kicks.
Continue on.
Yeah. So like, because we were talking about, like, of course, one of the known bad events is like, if crypto melt down, if the stocks melt down, right? Not great for NFTs. But I was also thinking if we had like other types of like risks in this market that like, we're not really talking about that could, when P.O. says some of the smart people he's talking to is like, we could go way lower. We could go down another 50%. Like what could make a move like that happen really quickly. So one of them was like regulation. Cause I don't know if you saw, like, Frank DeGods like wrote this like weird kind of post and then like deleted it, but like basically said like, I just got off like a call and it's like very big news and I can't go into the details, but it's going to affect literally every NFT project out there. And it's going to be painful in the short term, but like long term, I think it's like good for all of that. Now, I mean, it could be a million different things what he's talking about, right? But like it kind of got people like talking on Twitter. The other one I was thinking is like the concentration risk of Yuga Labs. If you think about the amount of people that have money in NFTs, significant money of NFTs, and the amount of people that got that from Yuga Labs assets and also potentially still own a significant amount of Yuga Labs assets, right? And if there was ever a potential like really bad move or like bad thing that happens in that ecosystem, like could it create like a cascading effect? Meaning like, okay, so everyone's talking about this ApeCoin staking coming out, right? But there's also like a big unlock happening.
They're also discussing the disaster.
And there's also a big unlock coming as well. So I was just thinking in my head, like, not saying this is going to happen, but like, what if like staking launches and it's just not working out well? There's like supply coming, it ends up being like a dud or something like that. We're in a bear market, like jacking up the amount of coins coming out.
That would be a disaster. Let's go through a list of other things because P.O. seems to think that this is clickbait, but it's not clickbait. Because here's what happened. They came out with ApeCoin staking, and there's a lot of things going on here. But the reality is if you have an ape, if you have a mutant, all these other things, blah, 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 if you have it in the ecosystem, you get bonuses. So you get bonuses on that staking. But then disaster struck. And what happened was, first, there was a delay. Where did that delay come from? Like, why did that occur? Disaster. Basically, a lot of people, the ApeCoin was skyrocketing on the staking news, and then it got delayed. Absolute apocalyptic level disaster that we observed there, okay? Then, now what we're saying is, it's not even clear that this is a good idea because as we started examining the situation, it was like, wait, this math actually doesn't make sense. There's only one trade to be made here, and the trade is on the lead up to the staking. And so you want to avoid actually doing the staking because it's a race to the bottom, essentially, unless you can short ApeCoin, but most can't stake it because of the disaster that is the U.S. Regulatory environment. primarily and especially New York, where it's preventing me from shorting, causing for my own wallet a size 7, immersion earthquake level disaster to my wallet, basically, and to my financial stability. So this is the level of sort of situation. There's a variety of these right now. So that's where we're at.
Okay. Kicks, anything to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, once again, like I'm talking like Black Swan events here, not like this is going to happen, right? But I was just like thinking in my head, like if the ApeCoin staking in a lot of these people that have a lot of NFTs put like liquidity into it and it doesn't do well and the price starts going down, and that would arguably be like the first mistake that Yuga Labs has ever made, right? They've done nothing but like
and the
money.
other deed mint gas war was the first.
That was an issue, but that was like mania. Like they can't control people's like wanting to like
they were going to do a proper Dutch auction, but there was that terrible Dutch auction event with the Akutars right before, and that that diverted them.
Totally. So I think it was just like a mania kind of like event there. I don't really hold them to that. That, other side is their first project that's like down from mint. But like it's hard to even say that was like a mistake. But what I'm like basically saying is like if the ape staking like doesn't go well, these people get their money kind of like trapped in or locked in, and then they start having to like sell off some assets, you know what I mean, for liquidity. So they're like, oh shit, well maybe they don't dump their Yuga Labs, but they sell off a Doodle or a Clone X, right? Or they, this is all Black Swan event theoretical stuff. But I was just literally thinking like, where are the risks in the space? So like,
there's a number of other risks. Before we dive into that, I just want to express a shout out to all the commenters who are basically voicing in on who's their favorite of us. So just post down in the comments who it is and why it's me. And if you can do that, especially Witters, would really appreciate that. In terms of the,
I look like a hot college chick without a beard. I have worn a wig before, and people did find me attractive. My wife was not a fan. Never done that since.
So you should try it again just for this show. A female wig is always a fun toss in here. But in terms of Black Swan events, let's just go down the list of them, because that's always one of the most positive, optimistic things to do. Nuclear holocaust. So let's start with that one. Let's get that. Russia drops a bomb on everywhere.
Well, let me find this while you two guys talk about it. Here's the tweet right here. I just found it. So
want to just DM me the private? Yeah,
you can pull this up, P.O. This is like what got me. I was in the sauna sweating. And
did your phone in the sauna?
Yeah, actually, that's
not a
when
thing.
my phone overheats and shuts down. That's when I know to get out of the sauna.
Not a thing. Go tell someone in Finland that you bring your phone in the sauna. They're gonna be like,
"What else are you supposed to do in there?"
You just sit there and think, baby.
Sit there.
You sit there and think.
I thought this tweet inspired a lot of thinking. I wouldn't have thought my thoughts if I didn't have that.
It's about the intensity of the moment. Like you're supposed to be sitting there and sweating it out. Similar to a meditative sort of state, you got to let in all the positivity, and which is oxygen in that case. And when you breathe out all that hot air and that inner feeling that you're having of depression and despair, and you let go of it, that's the key.
If I walked into the sauna at my gym and I saw a guy in there on his phone, without hesitation, I would slap the phone out of his hand and tell him to get the fuck out of the sauna.
I'd be like, "That's assault."
Pio has some good sauna stories. Let's talk about the guy who walked into the sauna the other day before we jump into this D-Gods Frank story. So basically, right, Pio told me this story, and I just want to embellish it a little bit. He's in there.
It doesn't really need embellishment. It's actually just a pretty over-the-top story.
He goes in. Are we going to demonstrate the exercise that was going to be done?
I started going into the sauna when I was like literally like 18 or 19 years old. I got to college and a friend of mine was like, "Yo, you go in the sauna?" I was like, No, I've never done that before. And I just started going in the sauna after I worked out. So I'm like 18 or 19. I'm 32 now. So I got like 13 years of sauna experience.
There's depth of experience. It's actually 14 at that point when you run the numbers.
Easy's 28, dude. I'm exactly your age. Anyway, so 13 years of sauna experience. Typical things that you see in the sauna are like
multi-decade sauna.
Multi-decade, over 10 years in the books in the sauna. I'm a big fan. I've done it in different states, right? I lived in California. I would be in the sauna there. I live in New York. I've been in the sauna there. Been in the sauna.
You've been around rich people and poor people in the sauna. You've been in rich and poor saunas. Both
diversity in terms of who's in the sauna, right? And so you see, like, a typical one would be like guys that are like extremely comfortable being naked in the sauna, right? So you'll see like just a guy. I have one memory where I was kind of caught off guard because I went in the sauna and like some 50-year-old guy one time
had the world's biggest.
He was like kind of like this, right? Like kind of a wide open like leg position, right? And just and like completely naked. And he was like, bro, like, could you actually check the temperature for me out there? Or something like that. It's totally normal. Or just literally being like, talking about the Celtics.
I'm not cool with, man, because then someone else is sitting in someone's like nut sweat. Like, I'm not down with that. You know what I mean? Like,
I think he was on a towel, right? But the thing is, like, the thing that was strange was the position, like the wide splayed legs, right? Yeah. But then also how
very Greek or Roman.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I think he told an anecdote. It was right after the Patriots won one of their many Super Bowls, and just in this position told an anecdote about how his wife, because she worked for the Patriots staff, she was gifted a Super Bowl ring. So I like, clearly this is it was just so strange to me that he wanted to have this conversation, right? So that was a very strange experience. There's never been an experience like the one I had the other day. So I get in the sauna, it's just me in there, right? A guy comes in, right? And what he does is he's got his towel on and he sets up shop. He sits down,
but it's not the whole towel, right? I think it's just a slip.
He sits down and he's like basically bridging like this with just his towel like right here.
So for the podcast listeners,
so you're kind of like sitting there and you're kind of like, okay, right? And then meanwhile,
Pio, I want to articulate it for the podcast listeners. Pio was splayed back on his back, but imagine rather than your full back on there, you're resting your neck against the lower bench of the sauna, basically, and your legs are fully extended, a full platform format that you have there. You're basically doing a bridge.
He was basically doing a very strange variation on a bridge in the sauna. And then as new people came in, I would like pay attention to them entering, and each one had like a similar, like kind of like a jarred reaction. It's just not something that you would commonly see. I've never seen anyone do that. It was a very interesting angle to take when you enter a sauna.
Wasn't the towel more like loincloth format rather than like a wraparound like shower towel?
I've been around the block before. I know what was going on with homeboy in there, okay? And like that guy was having a time just waiting for more people to come in. He wanted to be seen, is what I'm going to say.
Exhibitionist, or however you say that. That sounds like a real Planet Fitness kind of sauna. You know what I mean? Because you ever seen the Planet
Fitness gym
stories where people like don't know how to use the machine and they're just doing like, like they have like a strap around their neck and they're just like pulling the weight like this. You know what I mean? That it feels like that guy using the sauna.
Yeah, like odd workouts, like when they go to the Smith machine and they like lay down back on the floor and put their feet on the bottom. Like, I think you're gonna hurt yourself, amigo, because like you made that up.
Snap your spine.
You literally made that up. That's not how that machine is supposed to be used.
Some people just see the gym as like a freestyle gym. You know what I mean? It's like a freestyle mode. They're like, I think I could do this with this, man. Why not?
Exactly. And that guy that's doing that with the feet on the bar, he's wearing gloves. You got to have gloves while you're working out, man.
Good ass grip, dude. Like he shows people the grip on his gloves. You can't get these. You can't get these easily anymore.
Exactly. Okay. Well, that was my little sauna anecdote.
Love it.
Yeah. I'd say that was
Frank's story.
So talk about apocalyptic disasters and the ApeCoin staking disaster. That guy in the sauna, the punchline of all of this, he was staking ApeCoin, and we saw this, and we were like, "Well, this is not a good promotion. It was a poor promotion on his part."
He actually got a Dow stipend for the towel. Yeah. So Pio, you want to read off what Frankie said?
So Frank said, wow. Well, so first of all, something like this, like for him to tweet this, he's so good at getting people to talk about him. I almost feel like think about it. If you were in his shoes, I know he's young. If you were in his shoes, would you ever tweet this after a call that you can't talk about? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's like a big thing to do. And then he deletes it and then, so you can read it. Yeah, what's so funny, Nick? What's so funny?
Winter's comment about the sauna was, think if you walk in and someone's roasting their nuts on the rocks. I'm just like, that would be the most painful experience ever. But when it's cold and you're turning it on, it would be interesting, like at the beginning, if there was a little bit of nut roasting.
There's a window. There's a small window.
Anyway, sorry, back to Frank.
No, all good. That's a funny comment from Witters. So, like, would you ever really post something like this if you actually got off of a call that you can't talk about? I feel like you wouldn't. He said, all I could say is that this entire NFT space is going to change in a big way shortly. This has nothing to do with DeGods or Utes. These changes will affect every NFT project in the ecosystem. It's not going to be good in the short term, but I do think in the long term, it'll end up being for the best. Can't say much more right now. Not my story to tell. It's probably a regulation thing. I mean,
right? That's what the implication sounds like.
Yeah, it sounds like a regulation thing. And, you could say it's not good for the short term in the sense that people panic in the NFT space like no other space. Like that Ranga, wannabe hit piece made like a dozen people in a row accept floor offers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's also just a shaky market in general, right?
Yeah.
So like the amount of like negative fear that someone needs to just go insta dump, right, is a lot smaller now than it was in like, the massive bowl of last year. But yeah, like you're reading this and you're like, okay, when you're thinking about potential things that can just like be really bad for the space, like if ApeCoin staking doesn't work out well, it could once again work out very well. But like if that just unwinded terribly, or if whatever Frank is alluding to comes in, those are the kind of like events where if you're a holder, it's going to potentially be very painful. If you're someone sitting on the sidelines, maybe that's where you get that, generational dip.
I think also unrelated to Frank there's another Black Swan potential here that we did not account for. And I think that
is that a swan noise?
This Black Swan event potential is the drop of our hoodie. I don't know if you want to pull up that promotional video there.
Event. That's a white swan event.
Well, I think after everyone spends their money, they're going to be out of cash.
Oh, so you're saying it's a liquidity drain?
Yeah, it's a liquidity drain on the entire ecosystem. We can't hear with this one though.
Yeah, I don't like. Can I share audio? I feel like I can't. I don't think I can share audio. If someone else, you can share a tab, Nick, right? You could share.
If you go to the Stay Cool NFT screen, you can actually see us modeling it to their account on Twitter. And I look ludicrous. Watch it. This was not my choice of outfit, by the way. I would never wear those pants.
Mr. Long, I dropped a bunch of stills in the Discord, so you can see the stills. I don't know if that was against the marketing plan. I might have overstepped on the marketing plan, but I don't think it's going to really be that.
Yeah,
serious.
I think it looks great. I mean, I think, Nick, it looks like you got a hand-me-down at first glance, but it's a good-ass fucking hoodie.
We wanted to make sure that Nick was represented as a hip guy.
He looks pretty fucking hip. I'd say that guy looks 33.
Look at that shot.
I mean, that's great right there. That's great.
I mean, I've never seen cuts faster than that. Literally, like you got to like pause for a second on each one of those. That's like millisecond level cuts.
I mean, that's because Luke knows how to chop for TikTok, man. This thing's gonna go viral.
The degree of chopping, that was chopped. Look at that face. That is a winning.
Yeah, go long, baby. Look at that. Look at Nick holding on to that football. That's a tuck right there. That guy knows how to hold a ball like a running back. He's not fumbling it.
Exactly. The coach never said to him, "You're holding it like a loaf of bread." He always had it covered.
Love that. So that's definitely a Black Swan event.
Luke's over here watching, man. He's watching you give live commentary on his edit, as if you know anything about editing compared to Luke, Nick, as if you even had the slightest idea. Dude. Come on, man.
Just even had the smallest idea.
Brian said, do we get this for free or not? No, you pay for it. You got to pay for it. So
yeah,
pop it up, buddy.
Like, did they announce the price?
Too.
$65 is the price. And guess who's not getting any of that? Us.
Yeah, this is a non-revenue event for us.
Non-revenue event. It's It's an exploration event that gets holders a dope piece of clothing.
Yeah, I mean, inflation these days, I'd say that's probably a fair price for a hoodie.
Anyway, Black Swan event. Oh, all right. Nick's gonna be right back.
Go get a spin drift. Give him a sec. Let's look at Pixelmon real quick here. Oh, PO co-founder.
Yo, Ranga's back at 2.89 kicks.
Look at it, dude. Look at it.
That's crazy.
He's, you know, and I just, you know what, I honestly, on that note, that I've generally have started to think about some people that were maybe later entrants to the NFT space, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or people that just like smoke so much weed, they don't really have much of a remembrance of the history of NFTs. But I generally think a lot of people think holding a Bored Ape was just like the easiest hold ever. And it was just like a straight line up. You know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of people in the spaces generally think that like holding a blue chip, it's just a rocket ship. Like the floor price never goes down. It's just this like march upwardness to like
basically.
Yeah, but when you look at like actuality for like Bored Apes, you know what I mean? Like when it went to 60, then down to like 30 in a month and a half, right?
Yep.
So like people that held it all the way up to 100, they held it from 60 down to 30 when ETH was over 3,000. So they literally held it through $100,000 USD pullback and just kept on diamond handing, right? So like when you see Ranga going through these swings and people are like, you know, oh man, like, oh, look at all these fucking idiots. It went to 3 ETH. It's like down at 2, you know what I mean? In 2 weeks, like total pump and dump. And then, you know, now it's back up to 2.9. Like, that's just like in a bull market, there was a ton of volatility. In a bear market, even with a great project, you should expect even more, you know, volatility. So like this price action seems pretty typical to me. Like you couldn't expect it just to sit there at $1,600 a day. Sorry, 1,600 ETH a day in volume, like, you know, in, you know, perpetuity.
Yeah, I mean, nothing is up only, and you got to expect some volatility. That hit piece was just such weak sauce.
The Sandbox came in and bought 6.
That's good. So see, this is how you don't say anything, but you work in the background on relationships and have that, you know, make an impact, right? And that's almost the modern. Yeah, here they are. An hour ago, they bought 6. That's like the modern.
Hope this project never does an airdrop. Like, I hope this project never releases any more NFTs. I would just love for a blue chip project to be like, this is it.
Art.
This is it. This is
the best art.
We're gonna do fun community stuff, and we'll do some things here and there. But we're not promising you this like insane 4-year roadmap. By the way, just if you want to feel a little bad for someone out there, 16 hours ago, someone dumped to an offer at 1.9.
Oh,
the floor, and the floor's at less than a day later. The floor's at 2.89, and there's offers for 2.6.
Oh my god!
You're just like, you know, you never want to be the one just marking the bottom like that. You know, just absolute capitulation. You know. Let me see if this one of Nick's alts or something.
So, you know who doesn't have a roadmap? I got a good project for you, Kicks.
What?
Have you checked out the Nifty portal?
Yeah, dude. One of my favorites.
Those guys aren't doing shit.
Dude, they're not going to be offering the damn thing. They're going to launch a PFP project, and that's it.
Well, look, dude, they only have one NFT. You can't even scroll through this thing.
It's an ERC 1155. What a bunch of dumbasses.
Fucking idiots, dude. Who does that anymore?
What are you
Oh, good times. But you know, shout out to you know, Jesse Halfin. He threw in an offer on Ranga at 2.3. I hope he diamond handed it down the dip to 2 and back up. because then he's sitting in the green, as they say, right, Nick? You know what I mean?
I don't know about that, yo.
Yeah.
As someone who diamonds hands, stuff all the way to the top. That's how it's going.
Tippity top.
I should have just
Sandbox
held on to
at
my Ranga. That would have been a
1.6 ETH. Sandbox doing okay right now.
would have been a good move.
Sandbox is going to be coming out with something in the next 3 months. Sandbox is going to make a little move. You got to think that, right?
Dirty Robot apparently tweeted something.
Yeah, it was like black and white. Like,
can you zoom in so we can read it?
I don't really. It doesn't look. He's retweeted some stuff, but he hasn't.
It was black and white sketch drawings.
These?
No, it was like black and white that has color in it.
Looking to revisit these characters in the Ranga redacted. So does this mean?
Oh shit! There's another project coming. This is what we're talking about, yo.
It
Were
might
you
be a
tired of the
TV
first
show.
project, the boxes? Well, then they made the avatars. Now, if they take the avatars, they're going to turn those into the next one is the bodies.
I'm loving these guys' jumpsuits. I hope jumpsuits come back in real life. Like right there, like this guy looks like a maintenance worker on your roller coaster tycoon.
Maybe this is their merch. I mean, let's be honest. We're all fashion companies now.
Yeah. Only downside here, you don't want to get mixed up with QAnon. So, that Q could get you jumped on the streets if it's not looking fashionable enough. But, I definitely, and I love that hat. Just imagine all three of us rocking that hat on the show. Like that's just a nice looking hat right there. Really brings back like the Bolshevik revolution vibes. You know what I mean?
Bolshevik revolution. This reminds me of when I was doing jail time in the war, and I was a prisoner of war. That was one of my favorite times. I was locked up, couldn't go anywhere. One of my favorite things is this guy's face. It almost looks as bad as mine. Like, this is ridiculous.
Punchable face for sure.
Who thought that this would be a good model?
You know that guy slaps your girl's ass in the club. What you doing?
I'm not doing anything to this guy.
That guy's Jeffrey Dahmer. We're getting out of the club, honey. We're driving home. We're changing license plates. We're moving to another state.
And you got this guy, right? And it's like he's got the fly. He's wearing Uggs, and then he's got the jumpsuit. His flat top is nothing to mess with, and he's got a soul patch. This is pretty impressive. It also looks like he might be actually like pretty out of shape. He's got kind of like a rotund
going on there. And that guy definitely, when people ask his height, he's measuring. He's putting that hair in on the measurement. He's getting an extra 3 inches on that height. How tall are you?
Damn, I wish I had that sort of hair. That would be dope. I'd definitely like to include that in my height. It'd be weird though. Like you're talking to someone.
I want to talk to this guy. This guy's legit.
Well, this guy's got the bucket hat, but also like the nuclear power plant kind of like radiation jumpsuits. Pretty good with the big old boots.
Also, kind of looks like an Asian guy with a ponytail. Asian guys with ponytails, like, man, I'm nothing but respect for you guys, and I will never get in an altercation with someone like that. That's just a quick ticket to broken neck zone.
Broken neck, or maybe a breakdance fight.
Or a breakdance fight, which I would also lose, but more closely in that one. I do have some moves.
Nobody said it, but I feel they came close to resting Nick face, and I like that as a sort of concept.
I do like that.
You have resting Nick face.
You have resting Nick face. Yeah.
Big time. We got to get a merch item of that. You got big time resting Nick face.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's not resting Nick face. Resting Nick face.
Coffee barista.
Is that it?
Resting Nick face is, I don't want to be here. It's just, yeah, you're getting there. You can't recreate it. You just have to actually not want to be somewhere. Sorry, Kicks.
Yeah, well, I go in a meeting and I see a guy like that. I'm like, that guy drinks decaf. You know what I mean? If I see him sitting in the seat looking like that before the meeting starts, I'm like, that guy's really into decaf.
Looks like that guy just drank some tea with licorice in it.
I'm putting in the Discord, new contest, free portal NFT for whoever gets the best still of resting Nick face that we're gonna print on a mug for merch.
You'll love to see it.
That's for sure. So Ranga still doing its damn thing. What's the top? Is it 4? Is it 5? Is it 10? How high is it going?
That's a tough one, man. It's a tough market out there to get like, consistent net liquidity inflows at these prices. Having said that, we talked, like, we have seen some run-ups in the other, blue chips. I mean, this is look at this project. Look, is this Ranga? The last
this
4
is Ranga.
buys.
Franelation's wifey just came through and bought 4 minutes ago, and you already know the Franelation's family has big bags of Ranga.
Yeah, and like look at that. Like all of those are off the floor, right? Like 3.6, 3.9. That's cool as shit. That's a really cool one.
Crazy, dude. It's the best PFP artwork, man.
I just jizzed my pants.
I think there's definitely potential for these things to go to 4 to 5, but it would take some time. I think you would just see like you need to see some consolidation in this range. Probably there's still a lot of people who are sitting on 4 or 5X's in this bag. A dream of mine has been someone coming up with a way that you could see like the average in the money on some of these projects, right? Like out of all of the holders based on their buy-ins, like how many people are like up super profitable. Because if that number gets too high, then there's just such a natural incentive to take profits, right? That's when you probably see pullbacks, right? And then when it pulls back and you have new buyers coming in at higher average costs, it kind of like drags up the profit level. And I would love some sort of metric on that. Nick, could you get that done for me?
Entries for resting Nick face are already coming in, and I feel like Nick was just kind of giving people something to work with. It looked like Nick. It kind of still looks like Nick doesn't want to be here. So that's. I feel like this. You can get some decent submissions. He brought it back. He took it away for a second. No, like, see, right now this is more sensual. I feel like this is Nick in like a velvet walled club.
Pio, you'll like this, man. There was 2 QQL revealed sold today. Ruskin 1819 bought one for 16 ETH and one for almost 20 ETH.
QQL is just escaping.
But the actual revealed, not the mint pass.
I know. It's escaping me. I'm hoping Chris Bennett's right and it touches 10 again. That's what I'm hoping. We'll see. Floor price is 30. Yeah, two buys. Look, if the buys start flowing in, you know what's going to happen. Moon Boy season. Look, ladies and gentlemen, this was a great show. ApeCoin.
One of the best. When I think back on episodes that were all time and I rank them sequentially, this has to be in the top like 5.
Easily.
Episode number, who gives a fuck? Because we sometimes we track it, sometimes we don't. We have no idea.
We sometimes don't track it live, but I always go in and update it after. Always
going in, adding it to the title. Episode. Who cares? What number are we at?
How it works. It's how they do it in the
17.
in the industry. It's how they do it in the biz.
We're at episode 17.
No, we're at like 25. It's how they do it in the biz.
69.
It's how the pros operate.
It's how the pros do it.
It's how the pros do it.
We got advice yesterday not to do it like the pros that you look up to, actually. That was one of my favorite parts of that call.
Look at Impulsive. Go look at Impulsive. It's the same. It's the same thing. And that was one of the ones to look at. The same thing.
Well, I don't like that as an example, personally.
Oh, so you know better than the expert that we talked to yesterday.
I'm just saying I happen to know a little bit more.
He's an
the number is useful, though, because then you can reference it. For example, 769, This American Life. Now I can go look that up. Episode 769. I don't need to know the title. I can just reference a number.
Episode 25, NFT show. Boom, boom.
All right. Well, it's been real.
Yeah, dude. It's been cool, dude. Like, I really enjoyed. Thanks for having me on.
Ladies and gentlemen, make your submission
come back sometime
for resting Nick face. Have a great weekend. Share the video with your friends. See ya.